This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the we just hit 1 million orders stage. No matter what stage you're in, Shopify's there to help you grow. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/special offer.
Hello and welcome to Want to Hear Something Weird, a weekly weird podcast about weird stuff. I'm one of your normal hosts, Tom.
And I'm one of your weird hosts.
Oh no, it changed, literally flipped the script. You've turned weird.
I've turned weird.
Oh no.
I've come to view weirdness as a positive attribute.
Oh, I always thought weirdness
yeah, I
was
did too.
I mean, not some of it. Some weird's bad, but hey, some weird's good. That's all for this week. We'll see you next week. Laura, I believe you brought something this week.
No, I didn't. I thought it was your turn.
It's not my turn. Well, then it is going to be a very short episode. I didn't bring anything this week.
Today, I'm going to start
Okay.
by asking you a question. It's a little bit of a would you rather.
Okay. I know you like those.
I love those. Let's say you were a prisoner facing the gallows.
Okay.
So put yourself in that position.
Uh-huh.
And then you're given a choice.
Oh, no.
You could be fully pardoned if you agree to be lowered down to a bottomless pit that is believed to be a portal to hell.
Okay.
And report back what you see.
So there's presumably a plan to bring me back up then.
Yes.
Okay. So it's not just you can either get hanged or we can throw you in a pit.
Yes.
They'll take me out of the pit.
They'll take you out of the pit. And now think about it because
it might
no
be
one
hell.
no one else is going down there.
Yeah.
Everyone's too afraid, so they're like, "Oh, let's offer it to the prisoners."
Yeah.
We don't know what this is, and it's spooky.
I think I'd take a crack at it.
Okay, well, that's what
better than certain death.
That's exactly what this man did.
Yeah, they knew when they went to people with these offers. They knew this is going to be a tough offer to turn down. That's why we went to the guys waiting to get hanged.
The first man to do so was young and healthy, and he happily accepted.
Okay, I thought,
oh yeah,
thought that was his name, Young and Healthy.
Young and Healthy. No, we don't know his name.
Okay.
So he's being lowered down, and it didn't take him very long before he cried to be raised back up. When he was pulled up, his hair had turned white, and he looked to have aged many decades.
Okay.
So he got old.
He got old. So it's like that beach where you get old, but it's a hole.
Yes.
Okay.
He was so disturbed by what he had witnessed that he was committed to an asylum.
Wow.
And yeah. So I don't know if he made the right choice.
I think it's probably, well, I don't know. What year is this?
This would have been, we don't know
Around.
exactly, but it's around the 12th to 13th century.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, in that case, being in an asylum probably isn't great. They weren't known for having great mental health care back in the 1200s.
Today, I'm going to talk about the Houska Castle. So this is a castle that was built over the hole that I just told you about.
Okay.
In order to keep this demons away.
I mean, yeah, sure, that makes sense, but somebody's then got to go live in that castle.
Well,
and
let's
I can't
get
imagine that's going to be just a walk in the park.
So the castle, before the castle was built, the local folklore spoke of a crack appearing in the ground, revealing what seemed to be an endless abyss. We are in what is now modern day Czech Republic.
Okay.
villagers believed the hole to be an entrance to hell. So it was so far down that they would throw things in there and they, wouldn't hear any noises.
Hear it hit the bottom.
It just seemed to be an endless pit.
Yeah.
Villagers were gripped by terror because winged half-human hybrids would reportedly emerge from the hole at night and attack and mutilate livestock.
I mean, that's another point for it potentially being a hole that goes directly to hell. If you've got a winged half-human creatures coming out and mauling the livestock, that sounds an awful lot like the kind of shit you would see down in hell, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Fearing transformation into demonic beings, like the villagers were afraid that they were potentially going to be
possessed or taken over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Locals,
a reasonable fear considering everything else going on.
Locals steered clear of the rocky entrance, resorting in attempts to seal it with stones. And however, the abyss would swallow up anything that they put into it or put on top of it.
Right.
So they couldn't.
Yeah, they have no chance of
cover
filling it. It's way too deep.
It's way too deep to fill, and they tried to cover it, and it would just swallow it up.
Yeah.
So eventually, King Ottokar II of Bohemia commissioned the construction of a Gothic castle between the years 1253 and 1278. So the initial design overlooked some pretty common things like stairs connecting to a courtyard on the upper floors, and all defensive features faced inward. So instead of defending the castle from invaders from the outside, it's
defending it from the basement, essentially.
Trying to keep whatever was in that castle contained inside.
Oh, inside, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like not really a castle in that way. It's kind of like a containment.
It's referred to as a fortress. Yeah.
Okay.
And it has a castle as well. So this, between that, and it was also built far from any water source, any trade route. It was pretty far removed, and originally there was really no one living there.
Right.
So between all that, it really is quite suspicious about why this was built.
Well, did people try and keep it a secret what it was, or just you're saying, like, looking back now
from
the present day, it's like, yeah, this doesn't seem like a story somebody came up with in between this, whether these people in the 1200s were right or not, they certainly believed they needed to do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So the last part that was built was the king had the gateway to hell sealed with stone plates, and then had a chapel built on top of it.
Yeah, they hate chapels.
They do. They figured that would be the best thing to put right on a portal to hell.
Yeah.
And the chapel was dedicated to the archangel Michael, who led God's armies against Lucifer's fallen angels.
Yeah.
And while I was doing research, do you remember the mid-90s John Travolta movie, Michael, where he plays the Archangel Michael?
Yeah. I don't think I realized that's the same.
That's who he played.
Art.
And I didn't know this, but that was a Nora Ephron movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because it's like he falls in love with somebody down on Earth, right?
I don't remember. I know that he started out as sort of like a slob, and then there was a part where he saved a dog, and there was some kind of a love story, and I can't remember if he was involved or if he was sort of concocting it between two other people or something.
Like Cupid, a different angel.
I had seen that movie more than once. Like,
yeah, but it didn't stick with you apparently.
Not those details.
Yeah.
I was more fascinated with the fact that there was a human being with wings on his back.
Oh, yeah, because that was part of it, right? He had big wings.
Yeah.
Could he make them disappear?
I don't remember.
Yeah. A lot of questions about this movie.
We should watch that tonight. So we're going to fast forward in time a few hundred years to the 30 Years' War, which was in the 1600s.
Mm-hmm. And how long did it last for, would you say?
Around 30 years.
Okay, checks out.
And the castle was occupied by the Swedish army.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be the last army to occupy the castle, which I'll tell you about later.
Okay.
But it was led by a mercenary named Oronto, who many believe was a warlock.
Okay.
And he reportedly was a practitioner of black magic.
All right.
Where he would dedicate like every single night to experimenting in his laboratory to create an elixir granting eternal life. So he was just focused on that. He apparently kept a black hen where he thought it would somehow working with that would help him gain immortality.
Yeah.
And
well, there was no internet back there or anything, not
so
even
what else
TV.
Are you gonna do?
Yeah, might as well spend your nights working on an elixir to create eternal life.
It's not a bad way to pass the time. But as you can imagine, the local townspeople were spooked by that. We're not thrilled with the fact that there's a warlock inside this fortress that has a portal to hell.
Screwing around all night, concocting elixirs
out of hens. So 2 hunters shot him with a holy bullet, which I'm like, did you go to some sort of priest and have it blessed or something?
Or maybe put it in holy water or...
Yeah, I don't know. And apparently Oronto's spirit has haunted the castle ever since. According to another legend, a faceless figure in a black monk's hood appears in and around the castle and watches daredevils, people who like to visit it at night. Or sometimes, like basically ghost hunters or
urban
or dark
explorers.
Tourists or well,
I guess not urban in this case, castle explorers.
Right. And even after he was killed, he remained shunned, or the area was shunned by the locals. They just wanted nothing to do with it. So throughout the later centuries, it changed many hands from different aristocrats and nobles. And at one point, it fell into disrepair before being restored once again in the 1800s. And it was bought by a man named Joseph Simonek, who was the president of Skoda Auto. Which is a subsidiary, I think, of Volkswagen now. But I don't, at the time, I'm not sure that they were a part of them.
What year was this?
1924, he bought the castle. He was also a politician at a certain point in his life. And so his family is actually the same. They still own it to this day. During World War II, the German army seized control of the castle during their occupation of Czechoslovakia.
Right. Makes sense.
And
oh, no. Well, you don't want the Nazis getting involved with a hole to hell.
Exactly. It's the last thing you truly want.
Yeah. That's the kind of stuff they loved poking around at.
So the motivation for the takeover wasn't completely
like tactical.
No, yeah, well known. It is a pretty remote.
Yeah, so
place.
It's like they might have just had a couple of soldiers there.
No.
Oh.
So officially, we don't know exactly why, but what we do know is that they moved a lot of archives, a lot of manuscripts. Apparently, it was like 13,000 manuscripts that were in the library of the SS leader Heinrich Himmler. So a lot of them were originally in Hamburg and Berlin, and they were, afraid of those places being bombed.
Yeah.
So they moved a lot of them to the castle. It was one of about 4 different, quote, like storage places for
like strategic storage kind of.
Right. And apparently the Himmler was known for his fascination with the occult.
Yeah.
He's a big occult guy, and belief that if they could harness its, power or whatever,
they could
use
win
it
the war.
to bolster the Nazi dominance. So they are occupying the castle, and locals at the time reported seeing strange lights and horrifying sounds coming from the castle.
Mm-hmm.
Some say that many top Nazi officials attended dark ceremonies at the castle,
Mm-hmm.
and, believing that they were trying to harness the power of hell.
Yeah, or summoning something to come out of there.
Right.
Yeah.
And after the war ended, it was returned back to the family. And some other weird things that people report in the castle. So visitors report hearing screams coming from within the hole, which...
So is the hole open in the castle, or they're just saying for the holes under this floor?
The hole is under this.
Yeah.
They hear scratching of claws. Strange beasts still roam the area after dark. I mentioned earlier the faceless figure who, will creep around at night.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently cars don't start near the castle or have a very hard time starting near the castle.
Huh.
That old devil trick.
The what?
The
devil trick? Yeah, draining your battery.
Yeah. But it is now open to the public for guided tours and
ceremonies. Can you go there and conduct a ceremony?
I don't think that they would appreciate that.
Yeah.
But it is difficult even today to get to. I mean, you can't easily take public transportation. There's no easy transportation there. It is about a little over an hour outside Prague.
Okay.
You do have to drive there, but it is quite remote.
I imagine there's probably still decent tourism there. I don't know. People will take the hour drive outside
to see something
Prague.
Like that.
Yeah. But I also get if it, nothing else is built up around there, then why bother building up the infrastructure?
Yeah.
And be like, we need a train to go to the hole to hell that we have out in the countryside.
Yeah.
Our citizens are demanding it. They want to be able to visit our famous hole to hell more often. I was going to say, this reminded me of, I thought it was maybe for a second, but it's different. The well to hell. This is also in Russia, but this has been debunked, officially debunked but this is the kind of thing I vaguely remember hearing about as a kid and being real freaked out about it because it seemed real. This was mostly, I guess, kind of put out there by the Trinity Broadcasting Network, which was a Christian network.
Okay.
And they basically, from what I remember at least, broadcast as news, breaking news, they found hell. A Norwegian teacher heard the story on TBN while visiting the U.S., disgusted with what he perceived to be mass gullibility. Rendelan decided to augment the tale at TBN's expense. So this guy wrote to the network, originally claiming that he didn't believe it, but upon return to Norway, he read a factual account, and the story claimed not only the cursed well was real, but that there was a bat-like apparition that had risen out. So basically, he embellished the story further to embarrass them, to see if they would report on it. And they did.
It's pretty smart.
Yeah. Yeah, they did nothing to verify his claims and aired the story as proof of the validity of their original story. So yeah, not only did they just air it willy-nilly, they said, oh, look, this guy's telling us other stuff. It must be true. But this was an urban legend that a team of Soviet engineers in an unnamed place in Siberia had drilled a hole that was 9 miles deep before breaking through a cavity. Intrigued by this unexpected discovery, they lowered a heat-tolerant microphone along with other equipment, and the temperature was 1,832 degrees Fahrenheit, which is quite hot. And they also heard screaming from down below.
Oh, wow.
On the microphone. Now, the truth is that they did drill a hole 7.5 miles deep, the Soviet Union, but it wasn't in Siberia. It was in the Kola Peninsula, which shares borders with Norway and Finland. And geological anomalies were found, but nothing like supernatural. And the recording of the screams was later found to be looped together from various sound effects, sometimes identified as the soundtrack of the 1972 movie Barren Blood.
Oh.
So that one's fake. There was also a weekly world news story which was said that there was a hole in Alaska that went to hell, and that 13 miners were killed after Satan came out of the hole.
And snatched them?
I don't know if he snatched him. I think maybe even just being that close to Satan might be enough to put you on ice permanently.
Ooh. You never want to be put on ice, especially when you're already in Alaska.
But you might if you're falling down a hole to hell where
true.
It's 18,000 degrees or whatever.
No, you're right.
Are you afraid of very deep holes? I'm afraid of very deep holes, I think. I think I have that fear.
I do think that wells are scary.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, The Ring, come on.
Yeah.
Because, there is that moment of not really knowing what's down there.
Yeah, and how
the
far.
Fear, it's a fear of the unknown. Yes, and absolutely how far. Anytime there's a big hole in a movie or something that people fall down.
Mm-hmm. You don't like it.
Not a fan.
You say, oh boy, better them than me.
Yeah, well, certainly, yes.
I've been at many movies where you've yelled that.
Oh, better boy.
When characters have fallen down a big hole. Better them than me. Yeah.
What was it?
Some movie we saw recently where somebody fell down a big hole. I was just thinking about the time I saw Black Panther on opening day, and there was a guy there on a date who was in the movie, apparently. Like, he was like an extra, but like a few minutes into the opening scene, very quiet, you just hear this guy go, yeah, that's me.
That's a flex, I guess.
Yeah, and it was like an early screening. It was, like during the day, and I thought, does he just have like 20 dates lined up today where he's just going to keep taking them and be like, oh, I forgot. Yeah, that is me. I forgot I'm in this movie, the biggest movie of the summer.
That's funny.
Yeah, but to answer the question you didn't ask, I wouldn't like to go on.
I was just going to ask,
in a big hole either.
Are you afraid of big holes?
Yeah. I'm also afraid of like those videos where people do skydiving down those big holes.
Really?
Those? Yeah, they're like holes so big you can parachute into.
I mean, so the hole that
those holes are wide too.
Wide holes, yeah. I'm not afraid of wide holes.
You're just afraid of deep holes.
The small deep ones.
Small deep holes.
Because wide holes you can see the bottom of.
Yeah, these ones you can pretty much see the bottom.
That's fine. But when it's so deep you can't. It's just dark, and if you were to throw a rock down there and not hear anything,
right?
Spooky.
At some point, it just becomes a shaft.
I guess
and you don't want
right.
to fall down a shaft.
That's a classic thing you don't want to fall down.
You always hear about, a person fell down a shaft. They couldn't get him back out.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Too narrow.
Ooh, I don't.
So narrow, we called it a shaft instead of a hole.
Wow. Yeah. I never thought. That makes you think.
It really does. If you like the show, why not check out our social media at Wanna Hear Pod. We're on all the social medias you can ever imagine. Also, check out our email address.
Check it out.
wannahearpod@gmail.com. You can send us voicemails. You can send us emails. Doesn't matter. Your wacky stories, suggestions, whatever. It's a free email account. You can send all the emails you'd like. Just say, keep an eye on those attachments. wannahearpod@gmail.com. And if you like the show, why not give us a rating? 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify really helps hot, young, new shows like ours. And for everybody that has done it, we really appreciate it. We see all those, and they're great, and we love it. And we love you as a result.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. I guess that's it for this week.
Thanks for listening.
Steer clear of them holes.
Want to Hear Something Weird is a Clamor audio production, distributed by the Cloud 10 Network. Hosted and executive produced by Tom Reynolds and me, Laura Anderson. Executive produced by Aaron Hilliard.
Clamor General Manager Rich Statter. Associate Producer Ethan Aronson. Post-production supervised by Devin Ruskin. Production Assistant Samara Mullick. Special thanks to Sim Sarna and Saiba Krieger at Cloud 10.